Sounds of Mikey Spice, man. This one is called
Leaving me alone.
I Said. 15 minutes moving away from there. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with this morning edition of Policing with You.
In case you don't know us, you're just twisting the dial away and managed to bump into us. This is ZIZ Radio from Adam St. Kitts.
Hold on, stop. Think about the drink before you take a drop. Read up on the label on the back. They say science, sugar, low and fat. But don't be fooled by that. Drink some water, share some love. Tell your body you're sweet enough. Drink some water, share some love. Tell somebody you're sweet enough. Drink some water, share some love. Tell your body you're sweet enough. Drink some water, share some love. Tell somebody, yeah.
This message is brought to you by Lake Health and Wellbeing.
In case you don't know us, you're just twisting the dial away and managed to bump into us. This is ZIZ Radio from Adam St. Kitts.
Okay, pleasant good morning to everyone. Welcome to another program of Policing with You. I have some special guests in the studio with me. I want to welcome to the studio the Director of the Forensic Unit, Mrs. Latoya Lake Marshall. Welcome.
Hello.
And Corporal Carlton Duncan. They are welcome.
Hello.
They are both members of the arson investigation team here in the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis. So I want to firstly welcome both of these wonderful individuals to the studio today. This morning discussion is very timely, given that recently we've been having some reports coming to the police organization with reference to fires. The most recent one was that of the Joshua Obadiah William Primary School there in Molyneux, and that investigation is still going. From the outset, I would like to say to the general public, and I would say it at the end again, that the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force is offering a reward in the sum of EC $35,000 for information that leads to the arrest and successful prosecution of the person or persons responsible for the fire at the Joshua Obadiah William Primary School. On March the 18th, 2022, the St. Christopher and Nevis Fire and Rescue Service Department in Tabernacle responded to a report of a fire at the school just before 10 p.m. When the fire officers arrived at the school, they met several classrooms engulfed in flames. The classrooms from kindergarten to grade 5 and their contents were completely destroyed. Anyone who may have information that can move this investigation forward is asked to call the Tabernacle Police Station by dialing 465-7227, their nearest police station, or the crime hotline at 707, where information can be given anonymously. Investigations into this matter is ongoing. Okay, now I'll turn to my special guest, Director,
Yes.
Mr. Duncan. Now, first question I would have is, what is the role and responsibilities of the arson investigation team, and what agency and individuals make up this team?
Well, Corporal Duncan here. Let me first start by saying that the team is comprised of 5 individuals, started out with 6 initially, but one who retired and has returned to Jamaica. He was an advisor to the group when the group started out. Over in Nevis, we have Corporal Weeks, Corporal Weeks, who does the initial assessment when there is a fire in Nevis. Then the rest of the team Mr. Keynes, the fire officer, myself, Miss Marshall, and sometimes Corporal Challenger would go over to Nevis. We would do our assessment and evaluation of that scene, and then we would prepare our report to the investigator, who is normally a CID officer who is working within that particular area.
Okay, so what is the role and responsibility of the arson team? A fire takes place, the arson team comes in. What are they really coming in for?
Well, firstly, we come and we do an assessment. First thing we are checking for is safety, because you don't want for persons to enter the scene and then be injured by ceilings falling in. You may walk on nails and other metal that might be within the charred material on the floor. Secondly, we are there to do an initial assessment where we would determine where the fire may have started, where we could come back later down and do an in-depth evaluation of that scene, collect samples and stuff like that. We would send off overseas to determine whether accelerants were used and what type of accelerants. But in that first initial assessment, it is most important that we as officers stress the fact that persons come on scene even though they see that caution tape and they trample the scene. They remove, like some persons, personal possessions from the scene that could affect the case itself. We beg for persons, when you see the tape, allow the officers to do what they are going to do, and then they would pass on whatever information to you. They would tell you what you can remove from the scene and what not to remove from the scene, because it could affect the case as stated.
Okay, so what are you saying in a nutshell? When police officers see it, when civilians see,
and police officers
see a tape, police caution, stay back.
Step back until
do not come on the scene,
further.
don't take up anything, just leave it alone.
Exactly.
Until the investigation is completed.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. One other follow-up question to that. What kind of fires, when the arson investigation team show up, or you say you are there to assess the original cause of the fire, what are the several different causes of fire we will find?
Well, we have four categories of fire, as stated within the NFPA document.
What's NFPA?
The NFPA, the National Fire Protection Association, yes, that set the guidelines as to what to do in an investigation and how you go about conducting the investigation. So, as stated, we come and see it, yes, and we start with our assessment. Now, here is it. Fire could be of one of four categories, as I just stated. Natural, where you have like earthquakes, fire started after earthquakes, lightning strikes and stuff like that. Okay. Natural, no human intervention whatsoever. Then we have accidental. Persons leaving a heater on the bed ignite, yes, it's accidental. Then we have incendiary, where persons maliciously set fire to structures.
Okay.
And then we have the undetermined. Now the undetermined, as some people may state, they might feel like we don't know what caused the fire, but in this case, some of the time when you hear the fire is categorized as undetermined, is that the matter is still ongoing. Okay. We may know the origin, we may know the cause, but then to put other parts of the hypothesis together to give you an in-depth report, we need to know from the scientists, from the samples we submitted, if accelerant was used, what type of accelerant, and the duration of the burn, especially when it comes to metal structures. So the matter is undetermined until all parts of the investigation are completed. Then we could give you an in-depth as to the exact cause.
Thank you very much for that clarity, because I've seen several reports that are undetermined. I was like, undetermined? What does that mean? But it's not that you guys don't know, but then you send out samples and you don't want to say anything until the samples come back.
Exactly.
Okay, beautiful. Okay. You wanted to add something there?
Just to add, because I would speak from the scientific part of it. Our job basically is to determine also the mechanics and the scientific mechanics of the fire. So you would find our reports are totally different to a police incident report. And I really want to touch on this because we have had issues where we would have to present our fire report and the person seemed to think that it takes a day because it's just like a police report. No, you're going to see the mechanics of the fire. You're going to see photos of depth of char. That's like how the fire worked, where it moved from, marks and impressions that it would have made. We also go in depth. He's our electrical man, so I don't really move until Mr. Duncan comes in and he checks the electrical wires and so on. So I just want to make it clear that scientifically we are investigators and let you know how that fire started, how it worked, and heat, intense heat, all that degree of burning. You would see all that in our comprehensive reports.
So the report is not just a normal, just one page.
No,
in-depth,
it's fully
pictorial
from
analysis,
from
everything.
the initial response of crime scene investigators all the way down. So it has attachments of everything, and it gives you a full in-depth account of what the evidence was showing us.
Beautiful. Okay, how long has this team been in place, and why was it necessary to create this team in the first place?
Well,
Since
in 2019, March of 2019 to be
March of 2019.
yes, to be precise, we had an incident over at Nevis with the medical university where it was determined by some that an explosive was used in that particular incident. Now, from my explosive background, I was called to verify whether or not it was in fact an explosive incident. Yes, the building itself was the containment area for that explosive. So from there, we were able to analyze the incident, and from the, as we mentioned, from there, the United States aided by providing the fire training for myself and Fire Sub-Officer Keynes, where we attended the training in El Salvador along with other members from other Caribbean islands. And from there we've been doing online training and some physical training where we actually advance ourselves in the field of fire investigations. So from there, as we mentioned, we decided to put a team together to respond to incidents of this particular nature, where we would give you a more in-depth analysis of things, because just saying you had a fire, persons could cover up crime within itself and claim insurance or whatever. So with the in-depth report, we could either prove or disprove what some persons might have put forward.
Okay.
To add, we also had a series of fires. We were really, really active. We had a lot in Nevis at one point. There was one big fire that actually brought us onto the fore too. That was the fire at the chambers of the good Premier, Mr. Bradley. So that was a big one for us. We also had another series of fires at local bar. So those fires, we noticed we had a lot of vehicular fires coming up too. So we really had the need for the team to come into play so that we could start assessing the situation. So it was really active for us in 2019. So hence the reason we merged, and here we are today. We were behind the scenes working.
Okay, thank you very much for that explanation. From your explanation, what I find and what I've realized is that the members of this team have a lot of dual roles.
Yes, yes.
A lot of dual roles.
Yes, and that too slows down the process of processing some reports. Is something that we can't run from.
Because I find that you mentioned that you're an explosive expert, electrician, armor, I know that background, and as an investigator, and I know the director is a forensic scientist, and You bring a lot of
Crime scene
experience,
expert, yes,
crime scene
sir.
expert, and arson investigator. So it seems as though there was a lot of thought process went into
Behind
putting this team together
Yes.
based on the experience that you guys have. Wonderful. Okay. What kind of training did you have to undergo in order to be on the arson team? And
Well,
you mentioned San Salvador.
Yes, the initial training with the ATF in El Salvador, that started it. And as mentioned, I go online and I do one with the Canadian Fire Investigation. So that itself gives you the accreditation from that end. But just like everything else, you have to be there physically to experience certain things. Just showing me and telling me, you don't go really in depth to actually feel the training. So from time to time, you have to be unseen.
It would be remiss of us not to mention FSSO, Lesroy Keynes.
Who is presently overseas.
Yes, he should
FF.
return some. SSO Keynes,
Yes.
Fire Substation Officer.
Okay, beautiful.
He's
For the
one
benefit of everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
He is
yes.
one of the lead investigators.
So fire officers are part of this team
Yes.
here in St. Kitts.
He has a wealth of experience in fire. Actually, he is doing additional courses and training right now. So he's a very thorough person. He leads our investigations once he's here. So he has a wealth of training. He has trained along with Corporal Duncan, and on his own. He is also certified as an arson investigator. I wouldn't name the institution because I would leave that for him to say. Myself, as you know, arson is part of a jurisdiction with forensics. So I've had training with that. I've worked along with the fire team in Antigua and an arson team in Antigua. And also crime scene has to merge where I would have to direct according to my responses. So my technicians will respond and then they will relay back and inform the team. They would secure what we would need. You would hear us speak of de-energizing.
De-energizing?
Yes, so we're not going to enter a building. We would ask, was the building de-energized? That means if Skelec or Nevlec has gone to cut off all power source from the building, we also would not respond until that structure has cooled significantly. So when you see the arson team does not come in the night of the actual incident, but you see crime scene come to secure, that is relayed to us via photographs and so on. And then we will come in thereafter once we determine that the building is cooled and de-energized.
Okay,
So
thank you.
that's just a little bit of knowledge.
Very
But
important.
yes.
I'm going to ask one last question before we take a break. GQ, what are some of the challenges? Oh, hold on. Before we get to the challenges. Okay. Before we get to the challenge, let me see if I ask this question. What is the difference between... Yes. What's the difference between what this team does and the role of a crime scene investigator or police detective?
Okay, let me answer that. on the part of the arson investigation team, we are there mainly to determine the origin of the fire and the cause of the fire. We have the crime scene investigator, who is the person actually dealing with the actual case itself. We would pass what information we have to that individual. We are not the ones who are looking for, say, a perpetrator or anything like that. We are just there to determine the origin and the cause.
Okay.
Yes.
That's your role, and the
Yes.
crime scene investigator
Crime
has their
scene,
role,
no.
and the police detectives are their role.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we would advise the detective now and say, well, okay, from what we have seen, we will show arson is suspected or foul play is suspected, or we suspect that this was an electrical malfunction. So this is the way for you to go. In the case of where we suspect electrical malfunction, the investigators will still interview those who own the structure. let's say it's a home and so on, just to clarify certain things. We usually haven't had any issues when we have had cases where it's accidental. Persons usually are honest enough to state such. We do have one or two in a bit of denial, but we have the evidence to show. We always try to make sure that we have that to show. So that's the difference with us and the investigators, along with crime scene response.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It's important and delightful to know that the arson team guides the investigation. So I guess the investigators, police detective, and in crime scene would know how deep to go.
Yes.
Because if it turns out that is no, so natural causes or things of that nature, then they will say, okay, we understand. But if foul play is suspected, then they will call, we gotta dig a little deeper.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay, at this point, GQ, let's take a break for a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with some questions from the callers, if there's any.
About justice. What you know, what you know, what you know, what you know about love.
Collect, share, and win with Coca-Cola. Here's your chance to win one Sony PlayStation 5 when you enjoy a Coca-Cola or a Coca-Cola No Sugar 591 ml. Collect the specially marked labels and spell the word MAGIC. Submit the labels in an envelope with your name, address, and contact information and drop in entry boxes provided at major supermarkets. 12 lucky winners can also win great weekly prizes and free Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, real magic. See press or online for more details.
Experience the value. Get the cable's value bundle today. Internet, Ultra TV, free HBO Max, and a free Cable Platinum Loyalty MasterCard for only $157 monthly. Feel the thrill of 74 channels of Ultra TV. Feel the rush of the cable's 35 megabyte Bolt Internet. Maximum streaming entertainment is free with HBO Max and the ultra convenience of the Platinum Loyalty MasterCard. Shop, save, share, and don't forget, get a free internet upgrade when you pay your cable bills with Platinum Loyalty MasterCard. Not a cable customer? Sign up today and get more out of your internet, TV, shopping, and payment experience. The cable's value bundle, Ultra TV, internet, free HBO Max, and Platinum Loyalty MasterCard at $250 value for only $157 per month. Call the cable 465-2588 and come experience the value.
Hello, congratulations, you just won $50,000! St. Kitts and Nevis, it's your time! Win the grand prize of $50,000 in Digicel's Prime Plus 50K jackpot! It could be you! All you have to do is purchase a Prime Plus bundle in the My Digicel app between February 25th and April 8th, and you're entered to win the grand prize of $50,000, second place prize $15,000, or third place prize of $5,000. Plus, win cash, an iPad, shopping spree, and 1 year free data. Remember, purchase a Prime Plus bundle in the My Digicel app to enter. The Prime Plus 50K jackpot is on with Digicel. Digicel, better together.
Okay, welcome back to program Policing with You, and we are speaking about arson. And I have in the studio with me members of the arson investigative team in the Federation. We have a call. Okay, Pleasant, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Inspector Francis.
Yes, good morning,
I
sir.
want to inquire, do St. Kitts have a fireboat?
Fire?
Boat, a boat on the ocean, on the water that out fire.
Okay. Can we assist?
A fireboat?
Fireboat to out fires on the water.
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. Possible, but not to my knowledge.
The team is saying it's possible, but not to their knowledge. Any follow-up question? He's gone? Okay, that's okay. Okay, well, the team here is saying not to their knowledge, but I am certain that something must be in place from the Coast Guard section.
Yes.
Probably They have some mechanism of pumping the water from the ocean through a tube to be able to assist them, because I know we have the tourist environment here and we have the ships, and I'm certain that the Coast Guard Department have something in place just in the event some kind of in eventuality that occur on the water, they can intervene. I'm certain of that. But as to a particular fire boat, there's no knowledge of that particular fire boat.
No.
Okay, any more questions? Yes, good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Yes.
In relation to the question asked by the gentleman.
Yes.
The Coast Guard is to basically handle the unseen fire.
Beautiful.
Normally most tourist boats are about they come with trained fire personnel on the boat, right? But if it's something that in the boat is in the harbor and need assistance, the assistance will basically come from the Coast Guard.
Okay, well, well, thank you very much, Carlo. You can tell that persons are listening and they're calling to assist. I want to thank you very much. We did mention something about Coast Guard. Thank you for supporting us with that answer. I figure that you have experience that you can share with us today. Thank you very much. Do you have another call? Pleasant, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Elvis Brown. Mr. Francis is there.
If Mr. Francis is here?
Yeah, that's the crime scene officer, Mr. Francis.
Well, I'm Superintendent Francis. We have Director Lake Marshall, and we have Corporal Duncan. Can you ask a question?
All right. Well, in that question, what happened is something that happened Monday ago. A place get break Monday ago, my place, and he did come to the place. So I call him back to ask him certain question, but the lady there tell me that he gonna call me, but I did not get a call. So I just try the name Francis. I said let me call and ask this there.
No, that would probably be another Francis. If you want further assistance, you could probably call 662-7062. That will be CID phone number, Criminal Investigation Department. They'll be able to assist you.
All right, thank you very much.
No problem, sir.
All right.
Another call, GQ?
Write it down.
GQ? Is there another call? Yes, Pleasant, good morning. You're on the air. Good morning,
yes, good morning to all. Good morning, Miss Marshall and the host.
Good morning.
Good morning,
John.
This is Mr. Francis.
Yes.
I would like to ask and urge the police them and the investigators them there on your show to move swiftly. It will happen over by Abidaya School. We even entertain them kind of asking in this country. Because where that starts, it will continue. And we will get real problems. If these perpetrators get away with that, I know what's going to happen. On the street, as a member from the street, I understand these kind of things. So, I'm urging you all to move swiftly at it. And Ms. Marshall, I could count on you. And looking for the forensic. God bless you bringing something new to this country. And I hope the hierarchies and the commander of the police force work around you. And all of them who only get up and try to learn the forensic and the latest technology to rally around you and don't it just come talk because we're going to entertain it when we hear it in the circus. I will beat it down. And warning the commissioner to be tough on them when they're talking about foreigners. All of us is one. It's one small boat here in the Caribbean. And I hear it and I want to bang it down. Take care, guys, and try to really get some results on that because these are the things we got to deal with swiftly. You and hear the man culture.
All right, Carl.
Okay.
Thank you very much for calling. Do you have another call? Okay. Pleasant, good morning. Pleasant, good morning. You're on the air. How can we help? Hi, good morning. You're on Policing with you.
Yeah, hi. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm all right, sir.
A pleasant good morning to your team.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
You know that because of the COVID and the hand sanitization issue or protocol that we have, it is highly possible that a fire at a school that might have had hand sanitizers as part of each classroom being an accelerant. It is also important for us to note that during a chemical reaction, once a certain threshold is reached, then you can have some accelerants auto-produced. They are produced as a result of the ongoing burning, right? And I think that it is important for fire officers and others to get themselves engulfed with some chemistry sessions. I'm very proud that Officer Keynes, I heard you all mention him this morning, must be commended. He does everything that he has to do in order to improve the quality and his capacity. He's currently a student in my chemistry class, and like I would have pointed out to him, there are some chemicals, when you pour water on them, they get ablaze more.
Yes.
You know, so these things are important for persons who might be investigating, because at Fireburn they can produce their own accelerants depending on what chemicals might be around. Okay? So I just want to encourage, I think I like the conversation, but I like to encourage persons. I sent out an offer already to the fire department. Tito was part of my chemistry session. I haven't seen him in months now, and they must be encouraged to get involved in that, because some people might find it alarming that certain chemicals, the more you pour water on them, is the more they burn.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay?
Definitely.
Well, keep up the good conversation, and it must be encouraged. But I want fire officers and maybe those attached to the asking group of things to get a little more engulfed with the chemistry surrounding possible fire and combustion and the other production of accelerants. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nittel.
Yes.
I caught the voice.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm proud.
GQ, we have more calls. Beautiful. Pleasant, good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, Inspector Francis.
Pleasant, good morning. You're on the air. So, can you ask your question?
Yeah, this is Sonny Boy calling back. I didn't get your answer because we got cut off.
The answer. Could you ask the question again?
That was the one in relation to the fireboat.
The fireboat. Yeah. Oh, you didn't hear what we said?
I think it's our fireboat.
Oh, we answered the question. And the answer was that St. Kitts particularly do not have a fireboat, but the Coast Guard Department, and a caller calling after you to support that the Coast Guard Department is the one that takes care of any fire on the water. And they have the mechanisms and equipments in place to deal with fire on the water. And the caller added that the ships that come to our harbor, they too have fire experts on board and mechanisms to deal with that. That's the answer to your question.
Okay. One quick note, Inspector Francis. Are you from up the village or Stapleton?
Sorry?
Where you from? The village? St. John's Village or Stapleton?
Okay, I'm Superintendent Francis. I'm from Bastille. I'm from all over the place. Can you ask a question?
You might be related to me and Jamdown and Dumpling.
Well, you know, we are related in some way. Can you ask a question?
No, seriously. I have some friends who relatives from up the village. St. John's Village in Stapleton.
Okay, let me make it easy for you. My number is 662-3954. You can probably call me after and we'll have another discussion.
Okay, I'll call you.
Yes, 662-3954. All right, thank you very much.
I'll ask my brother Jamdown to get in touch with me.
I didn't get on. I didn't get that last question. Okay, we have more calls?
Yeah.
Okay. Pleasant good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, pleasant good morning, GQ. And the fire exports there. Jamdown, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Now, I know that the government is trying their best to see how secure all around the island can be with CCTV cameras. But a fire like the Obadiah Williams School, even if you had cameras on the outside of the building to see who enters the building at what time, the intensity of the fire could destroy those cameras. Unless they had them off the building, but not too far from the building so the camera could pick up. If that was done, then you all have a good lead by reviewing what the camera pick up. Now, let's go forward with precaution.
I understand on the news there were more than one areas in the building that the fire export detect that fire started. Well, it's not only the Obadiah School, there was a little fire up Boardwalk in the Kim Collins ticket booth. So that shows well then that there's someone out there maliciously going around and trying to create problem in this country. Well, I would suggest whosoever is in charge of Kim Collins Stadium, do not open it until the sun rises 6 o'clock in the morning. So anybody go in there when it's dark, people should be able to see who is in there, and then you could get information if anything happened from them. That is my advice to whosoever is in charge of these facilities. Thank you, gentlemen, for listening. Good job, as usual.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, as a point of clarity for the caller, what I would say is that with reference to cameras, the storage information, although the cameras are burnt, information are stored on cloud, that's on the internet, and it can be retrieved, and sometimes the information is stored away from the camera itself in some building or office where the brain of the system is kept. So although the cameras might be burnt, the information can still be salvaged and can still be retrieved. Do we have any more calls, Ricky? Okay, let me jump into a question. What are some of the challenges you found yourself coping with as ASN investigators?
Well, as I open this morning by saying, one of the things we have issues with is safety. Persons trampling through scenes. Another thing we have when it comes to the challenges is also transportation. Yes, some of the times we have to move the whole team. Individually, some of us could get to the scene just like that based on where the scene is. Other persons have to travel distance. You see, like we're traveling over to Nevis, we have to get everybody together, so the logistics involved tend to be on a shortcoming end certain times. But yes, outside of that, as I mentioned with the part of safety, we can always cordon a scene with the police tape, the caution tape, don't enter, don't cross. But then on the part of physical security, departments are short-staffed, getting persons to be there over a period of time, that poses a problem for us. We could get somebody to sit in maybe 4 hours, but then what happened to the rest of the evening, where a perpetrator might somehow overheard somebody saying they have a lead with something here, and then you find that person now look at the security, where the security is, and go back on the scene and try to remove that particular item from the scene. So having physical security on scene is in itself a challenge. And as Miss Marshall would say this morning, one of the other challenges we have was with the head when it comes to signing off on documents, as you could explain to Mr. Francis. Yes.
Well, one of my duties is to formulate the reports. You know, I'm a paper person. We had a lull when we just started because we had to have a senior person to sign off on the logistics of the paperwork. We have since rectified that, and the fire chief, it has to end up on his desk, and we cannot submit unless the fire chief signs off. So we had a backlog because there was a lull with that, trying to figure out between the commissioner or the fire chief who would be the best. So we have a backlog. We also needed an administrative assistant. So Mr. Keynes has done something, and you have to find someone who is totally confidential with this type of documentation, because all of us have different roles, and to sit to deal with all fire reports when we have murders coming in, we have this coming in. So we have since rectified that recently. Another challenge that we face is the fact that I have a drug analyst who is qualified to test accelerant. So I'm pushing to get that done right here at our lab in St. Kitts. But in the meantime, we're faced with shipping. So there's a break where we have to wait on the results to come back for the accelerant testing. And accelerant testing takes a little longer than the DNA results would come back. So that has been a challenge. So I am pushing to get the chromatography machinery for Mr. Williams, so we can do our very own testing here to relieve that particular issue. So those are some of the challenges that I basically face.
All right, thank you very much for noting the challenges.
Yes,
and I also know that some of the challenges have already been addressed. A question? Okay, let's jump into the calls. Pleasant, good morning, you're on the air.
Hello, good morning. You can hear me, good morning.
Hi, morning.
Good morning, morning.
Yes, I'm glad you get the information about the cameras, that if in case anybody going by any place would have cameras, they could think twice. Since you said the information, even though the camera is not there. You understand what I mean?
Yes, please.
Yeah, and so then if these other schools will put up cameras, think they will get information then to know how we went on. But no cameras there by no school, so they could still do what they want to do next time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank the caller very much. Yes. Okay. Pleasant, good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning again. Me again. Jam down again. I want you all to know, that what a woman just said just now, the lady a while ago, just now, the caller before me, she make a valid point, because when you check all these schools, very seldom you see cameras, and the watchmen them on these schools leaving the compound. When they tune in to work, let's say, from 5, 6, they leave the compound and go home and then gain the country value for money. And while the health department and police understand something got to put in place. The police patrol must check these schools and see the workers there. Because it's been happening a long time and people in the area complaining that the workers them just come in west down the bag and they go and they see them till after 6 in the morning. And these are serious issues must take very seriously going forward. Out of the Abidoyo school deal. And I hope I come calling the watchman and ask him some questions, Have a good day. This is Jam Down.
Thank you very much for your call. GQ, can we take at least 2 more callers? And then we start to wrap up. Okay, Pleasant, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Francis, just one more input I would like to have.
Yes, sir.
As much as we collect the physical evidence, we might not be absolutely certain as to point to a suspect, right? And as such, I believe that a forensic psychologist should also be a part of that team when you're doing investigation, because you might want to conduct interview. Here we call it interrogation, but the British will call it interview. We need somebody to interview a particular suspect and get into the mind of that person to see if you can draw inferences that would be pertinent to the matter at hand. And I think it is high time the government start looking at maybe having some persons trained as forensic psychologists, because they deal with issues as to why people would commit crimes and red flags, possible red flags. So I think that a forensic psychologist would be an ideal person to be a part of the overall effort. Because much as you might have suspects, you still want to get into their minds as to what happened. It could be a physical case, it could be a mental case. You understand? And to me, nobody in the right mind will go and set a school on fire. So it might have to be a person with mental challenges. How do you talk to that person when you get him as a suspect? Because not everybody trained to speak to these people to get the information, the relevant information out of them. So we might have to start thinking about having persons trained as forensic psychologists. Because we have a lot of persons walking around who got mental issues. Their family are not ensuring that they take their medication. And they just do things because they're not fully aware of what they're doing. Some of them would even take job from somebody, maybe to light a car, fire, light a building. So you need people to interview these persons, not interrogate, but interview, to extract the maximum information you can, given the degree and the mental capacity of the person. Okay?
Yes, thank you very much, Carla. Thank you very much, Dr. Nital.
That was Dr. Nital.
That's Dr. Newish Nital. Yes, one more call. Okay, one last call. Caller, you're on the air. You're the last call. Can you ask a question, please? Could you repeat? We're not getting you. Caller gone? Got disconnected? Next call. Okay. Good morning. You're on the air. You're the last call.
I'm down again. My brother Nital, you is surprised to hear how some people talk when you hear these instances happen, when things like these things happen. You will surprise. You understand? It's true. You got a lot of people who, got mental problems, will do things like these things. But Mr. Nital, you will surprise to see and hear who the officials them come up with. Have a good day.
Okay, that was our last call. I want to thank all the callers for calling in and persons who just listened to the program. Now I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to wrap up. Anyone can go first.
Okay. Well, from my standpoint, one of the things we've been seeing very often is the accidental fires in terms of the standing fans in the bedrooms and the tabletop, the Chinese version of the tabletop stove. There is no bottom plating to actually reflect the heat that is coming from the stove itself. So you find all that heat goes down to the table it's on, and that in turn over time chars the wood material below it, and at some point in time it becomes combustible and ignite. As mentioned with the part of the standing fans, some persons for me are programmed to the sound of a fan. If they are not hearing the fan, they can't sleep. So with that, you find some leave their houses while the fan is still in the on position. It gathers dust. Over time the dust pull lint, and that lint in turn, when it's heated by the motor inside the fan, it ignites. With that happening when you're out, and we've seen where some persons have to jump start their fan, actually spin the fan with their finger in order to get it going. Yes, that type of situation actually heats the fan. So with that happening and you're not at home, it's plugged into the electrical, and some persons are quick to say it's an electrical fire. But truly, it's the fan itself, overheated, ignites maybe a curtain cloth somewhere close by, or even a bed sheet. Yes, we would like for persons when they're leaving home, yes, try and plug out some of those accessories that you have that could cause these fires.
Thank you very much. Director?
Okay, well, everybody knows about Mrs. Marshall. I'm very passionate about my work, and especially with the school. A school is where it starts for education. School made us. So to see that it goes to this extent, and we were actually hoping that when we got there it would have been something else, but this is what we have to face. I'm appealing to the public. If you see something, say something. There are hundreds of kids now who are deprived of an education, and from what I've learned, that school has a lot of history behind of it. I was not born here, but I do a lot of research sometimes on structures in St. Kitts. My great-grandmother was from Nevis. There's a lot of history behind the school. I spoke with the teachers and they're very hurt because a lot of books, we had to go through a lot of books that was just destroyed. So I am hoping that the public will assist the police. We are doing our part. We have covered our grounds. So we are hoping that the public will assist us. I will continue to serve, and I am pleased to be here on the show as usual.
Okay, I want to thank you guys for your wrap up and your comments. I did have a lot more questions, at least 5 more questions, but unfortunately we can't reach to it. Okay, my closing comments would be the same way I started out. The Royal St. Christopher Nevis is offering a reward in the sum of EC $35,000 for information that leads to the arrest and successful prosecution of person or persons responsible for the fire at the Joshua Obadiah William Primary School there in Molyneux. On March the 18th, 2022, the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Service Department in Tabernacle responded to a report of a fire at the school just before 10 p.m. When the fire officers arrived at the school, they met several classrooms engulfed in flames. The classrooms from kindergarten to grade 5 and their contents were completely destroyed. Anyone who may have information that can move this investigation forward is asked to call the Tabernacle Police Station by dialing 465-7227, their nearest police station, or the crime hotline at 707, where information can be given anonymously. Investigation into this matter is ongoing. I want to thank you, GQ. I want to thank the management and staff of ZIZ. I want to thank the callers for listening, for calling in. I want to thank the listeners, both local, on the internet, and the wider diaspora. Tune in next week again for another program of Policing with you. See you when I see you. GQ, see you when I see you.
What you think about justice? What you know about love? Why all the segregation? We all are but one nation. Oh, let us unite as one. Let us unite as one.
Experience the value. Get the cable's value bundle today. Internet, Ultra TV, free HBO Max, and a free Cable Platinum Loyalty MasterCard.